Hey everybody, it's Dr. D. I am always super excited to bring you different inspirational nuggets, and many of you have heard me say over and over again, and it really is true. It is my passion to help people, to inspire people to live in their greater, to create greater moments. Not that you're just waiting for them, but that you understand you have the power to help create them. And you can do that more consistently, more routinely, more intentionally. And so I love bringing these types of teachings to individuals. I live them out as I'm teaching them. So I don't teach them like, check, I did it, I got it, I made it. No, I'm living this. And when I see fruit growing from my practice, from my spiritual practice, when I see that fruit growing, I'm like, ooh, I got to share this because I can't be selfish. I want to see other folks grow too. And so one of the things that I want to talk to you today on is the notion of detoxing. And when I talk about living in your greater, when I talk about participating in your greater, I'm not dismissing the fact that we have been touched by negative forces, that we have, whether you call those negative forces negative energy, the devil, demons, bad vibrations, whatever you want to name them, they exist. But I happen to believe that we are more resilient and that we've got something inside of us. We have a spiritual energy inside of us. We have a birthright given to us by divine creation that says we have the power to overcome darkness. Yes, I believe it. Somebody reminded me that last year I taught a lesson on the 47th chromosome. So I know there are 46 chromosomes technically, but I happen to believe that we've got a 47th chromosome. A 47th chromosome that comes from our divine creator, our Father God, however you want to phrase that, Mother God, Father, Mother God. But God has given us a 47th chromosome that allows us to be resilient. And so as we have been, unfortunately, some might say, touched by darkness and touched by negative energy, there is a need to detox so that we can pursue our greaters. And so the thing is, I come into contact with so many people that can't even recognize that they need detox, that can't even recognize that they're walking around traumatized, that can't recognize the fact that they might be living in a long-term state of PTSD. I see it all the time. And from time to time, I'm reminded of trauma. And I'm like, ooh, and I feel it. I'm like, okay, I thought that was all out. Let me do a little bit more detoxing, okay? And so if you don't learn to detox and learn to pursue healings, even if you have to do it in increments, sometimes you're unaware of things until you turn 40, till you turn 50, 60, and so forth. You're like, oh my gosh, I did not realize that impacted me. And so I'm hoping that you will open yourself up to be more aware, to ask yourself, where are there areas in my life that I'm still living out the trauma of, so that I can, put some forgiveness there, so that I can heal and detox. Because if we don't do that, we pass on trauma to our children. We pass on trauma to our children. I've been seeing it lately. I've been seeing children who are traumatized at no fault of their own, but because mom was traumatized, dad traumatized, never dealt with their trauma. So now we pass it on to the kid. I know in some Christian circles, it's very popular to talk about generational curses. And for me, a generational curse, my father likes to talk about a curse being a restriction. And a generational curse is nothing more than a generational restriction. You have a restricted way of living, a restricted way of thinking. And this is why it is so important to be open to meeting new people, different kinds of people, even if they don't become your best friends, because sometimes they can expose you to a thought pattern, and it gives you the opportunity to realize how sheltered and how restricted you've lived, how restricted your thinking has been. Yes. And so through those relationships, we're able to recognize and clear out, detox. And sometimes detox might mean you fast. And that might not necessarily be food, but it's fasting certain situations, certain types of encounters, so that I can detox. I can go through this cleansing of my emotions and my psychology. Why? So that I can make sure that I've got a clear path to pursue my greaters. And as you do that, you introduce that to your children. Yes, you do. Do you guys remember the book a while ago, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? That book was really interesting because one of the things that the author, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Robert Kiyosaki, I think. One of the things that he introduces in that book is nothing more than a way of thinking. A way of thinking. And when you are living in a certain path of restriction, you pass that on to your kids. So this is how you thought about money. That's what you passed on to your kid. Now you got 5 generations thinking one way about money. We call it a generational curse. Fine. I'm going to say generational restriction, because when I say restriction, it gives you a language that says if something is restricted, you can unrestrict it. Sometimes we talk about curses being permanently, and so then we talk about it being broken, but sometimes we don't have the vocabulary to really help define what that means. So when I say it's restricted, you have the power to unrestrict it. How do you unrestrict it? Change your way of thinking. And so yes, being exposed to new friendships, new ways of thinking, reading different books. You know, sometimes we put ourselves in a box and we stay there with same old folks, same old friends, and we never have lunch with somebody different. Just lunch. I've done that a few times where we've done one lunch. I remember going to lunch with someone years ago. She owned a business in Central Florida. I just want to go to, can I take you to lunch? I want to talk some things out and get your input. That one launch. Well, yes, because that one lunch launched me into a different way of thinking about how I handle my business and the creative ideas that come to my mind. Something that my cousin could not give me because we came from the same zip code. Not that zip codes are bad, but metaphorically speaking, we came from the same 1, 2, 3. I needed to know 4, 5, and 6. So I'm imploring you, I'm encouraging you, inspiring you that there's so much more for you to pursue. There's greater for you to pursue. But in order for you to pursue it, sometimes you have to take some moments to detox. And detox can come many times. It comes through opening yourself up to new paths, new thinking, new relationships. Because the relationships, quite frankly, is where we learn a lot of this stuff, good, bad, and different. And as you explore these new paths, you also perhaps might need to fast a few relationships. Might be a few friends that you don't need to see them until next year because you need to detox for some stuff. Because all you do in that friendship with them is rehearse that same old thinking. Yes, yes, yes. I have an example in my head. Someone very dear to me was very involved with, I'll just say, an organization. And she's very fortunate to have a companion who recognized that this organization is only rehearsing some things and it's not allowing you to pursue your greater. And so the challenge was created. Take a break from that organization for 1 year and let's pursue some other ways of thinking about how we live. That, I think they told me that was like 3 or 4 years ago and they ain't been back. Yeah, that's because sometimes you need to take a break. Fast. Take a break. Try some new things so that you can detox. And again, this is so strong for me because I'm seeing so many people walking around living out PTSD and they don't even know it. Living out trauma, traumatized thinking, and they don't even know it. Don't even know it. Sometimes they're 50, 60, 70 years old, 30, 40. Don't know it. But if you open yourself up to something new, it may help you to see something that you need to get rid of, to trash. Take out the trash. Detox. Get it out. And practice some new ways of thinking and being. Well, I hope that helps you. That's about as best as I can give it to you right now. But it was good for me while it was in my head, and I hope it was good for you when it came out of my mouth. Take some time to detox and pursue your greater. Stop walking around traumatized, because you're passing that stuff on to your children, your whole family. Your whole family traumatized. And somebody's just waiting on one person to get untraumatized. Somebody's just waiting on one person to get unrestricted, so that the other families can say, oh, that's how we do it. And there'll be some that won't. There'll be some that say, oh, you think you're better than me. No, I'm not better than you, but I sure am better off at this moment without apology. Absolutely. All right. So pursue some greater detox. Stop living in these traumatized states. Get some new relationships. Read some new material. Go to some different places. Take somebody to lunch that's very, very different from you. Even if you don't talk to them for the next 15, 20 years, take them to lunch. Let them, you sow into them some food, and let them sow into you a new way of thinking about some things. All right. If you want more of this, we have what I'm introducing as Impact Hour every Sunday from 2 to 3. It's face-to-face. We're archiving as much as we can right now on our YouTube, so you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. So I'll make sure I put that link there as I post this. But you can always join us if you're in the Tampa Bay area face-to-face, where Impact Hour is 1 hour on Sundays from 2 to 3. And got a little mixture of some teaching. We're throwing in some Q&A now. And some youth points of view, some millennial chats and so forth. So we're power packing our Impact Hour, and that's how I'm introducing it. But I believe it's going to be good. It's already been good, and we're just looking to make it greater. All right, everybody, I love you. Detox, be greater, and subscribe to our YouTube, Davina Jones, Dr. Davina Jones, and check our website out, Greater Loves You. GreaterLovesYou.com, or you can go to DavinaJones.com. And I hope to see you one of these Sundays when you're in the area for Impact Hour. All right, bye-bye.